Dave, we'll just touch very briefly on last weekend because I'm sure you'd like to move on and draw a line under it. But did you receive feedback from the PGMOL regarding the decisions that you were frustrated with last week?
Yes, immediately. And listen, no surprise. As I said after the game, my opinion's not changed on it. Unfortunately, we're living in a, and whether we have to get used to it, living in a world now where at times success and maybe failure is going to be dictated to by officials. And over the course of the season, they'll get some decisions wrong, and there'll be decisions throughout 90 minutes of a game of football that you can question and you can argue, but it's the big decisions that they need to get right. And I don't think that we should be comfortable in getting feedback that a penalty that we've conceded shouldn't be a penalty, that there's potentially 2 red cards in an opposition team from challenges, and that the red card that we receive is totally wrong. I don't think that's right, and something needs to change. Unfortunately, what we have to do is get on with it, because we're not in a position to change it. But I think far above our level in terms of the people that look after the game in this country have got to question what's happening every Saturday and Tuesday, and how we can improve and how things get better, because it's quite evident that people need help, and I think it's the job of the people who are overseeing football in this country to make sure that happens.
In terms of moving on quickly from that now, in fairness, you haven't lost back-to-back league games all season, so that tends to be something you're quite good at, maybe not reacting, but putting bad results behind you pretty quickly.
I think we came into this season, this will sound the wrong way, expecting to lose matches, and that always will be the case. You hope to lose as little as possible, but we were coming into a different division against a different challenge, against clubs that are better than the division that we came out of. So we knew that would be the case. What we try and do, regardless of what happens, win, lose or draw, is shut things down as quickly as possible, take out of it what we need to take out of it, and move on to the next game. Whether that culminates in the record of, like I say, not losing or going on a losing run, I'm not too sure, but it's consistent around what we've been, and will continue to be that. So we go through the things that, like I say, that we've done well, the things that we can do better, and then you concentrate on what we need to do going into, I'd say this sort of week, and this week starts tomorrow with a Tuesday, Saturday fixture of 3 important games, but fundamentally focusing on what we need to do tomorrow in order to try and beat Burton.
And it was 4 points from that block of 3 games that everyone talks about against teams in and around you. Are you satisfied with what you saw, if not from the points returned from the performances in 3 very tight games?
Yeah, it showed what I thought it would be, and what games are going to be at this part of the season. In the games, and not just games against teams in and around you, the tighter and the closer things get towards the end of the season, the games are, and have been over the course, really decided by moments in most instances, moments of quality, moments of efficiency in terms of scoring at a good time, or mistakes from, again, different parties. And that's been no different when you reflect the game against Charlton. Probably first half they maybe had the better of it without really being on top. Second half, with what we did, we probably should have won the game with the chances that we had. We obviously had good chances against Bolton. Thankfully, we took one of them to give us a victory, and we weren't efficient enough on Saturday in order to go and get a result at Wrexham. And large parts of that down to bits that we can get better at, but large parts down to the fact that they got themselves in front and were able to defend the lead, which they've done really, really well over the course of the season. So regardless of what the points return was, we could have quite easily gone into those 3 games. Say if you draw all 3, it's not the worst. Well, we're better than that, but we'd like to win all 3. So that's where we're at, and it sort of, I suppose, promotes the fact of what I was saying before the game, that regardless of what happened in those 3 games, the next game becomes a bigger game, and the game after that becomes a bigger game, and that'll be the same right until the end of the season. So that's where we are in terms of our thought process. You're going to look at banks of 3 games, without question, people, again, outside of here, because we know what this league is and what it requires to win and what you need to be at, people will see the next 3 games for us as easy games. Nothing could be further from the truth. We're playing against a team tomorrow that, if you look at probably their record over the past 2 months, will be right up at the top of the table in terms of points return. We're playing against a Stevenage team that had, on Tuesday, a really good run of results, and probably should have got more than what they've got. But every game's been really tight. I watched them last night, and they were unfortunate not to win that game at Leighton Orient, and we know how hard it is to go there and win. And then we're playing an Exeter team that are scrapping for their lives, and it's a really, really tough place to go. So these block of 3 games are just as challenging as the last block of 3 games were, and that's been the case all the way through the season. It's really easy from the outside looking in just to go, oh, look where they are, we're above them in the league, so that equals we should win. No, we have to earn the right to win, and we do that by producing performances that give ourselves the best chance.
Couple of injuries to note from last week. Ryan Rydell missed out on the squad, and you lost Callum Camps in the first half. How long are you expecting them to be out for?
I don't expect to see either of them probably in the rest of the regular season. Obviously, never say anything before the game with Ryan, but he did a hamstring at Bolton, which, like I say, may keep him out sort of 4 to 6 weeks. So you may see a bit of him. Campsey, obviously the victim of a bad tackle that, again, we've spoken about, we got feedback on, should have been a red card. So not only get punished within that game, we get punished because he misses the next at least 6 weeks, I'd say. So that's disappointing. But we've gone through adversity before, we've gone through challenges. I suppose the good thing about this group and the good thing about us is that we, I suppose, have different ways of playing, and we have to adapt and pick a team and play in a way that gives ourselves the best chance of getting results. And that's where the positive comes for me, because we have tried over the past few years since I've been here to not be one-dimensional around how we go about things, and have different ways of managing situations and different ways of getting results and different ways of causing teams problems. And we're going to have to do that over this running. But it's a challenge and an opportunity that we're well up for, and we're looking forward to what's in front of us.
You have Brad Hill suspended tomorrow as well. Again, I'm sure there'll be frustration at that, given the feedback you received over that decision. But you did have the positive of Fraser back on the bench last weekend. Is he ready to be thrown straight back in, or do you need to manage that, given he's not really played since December?
Yeah, listen, he's not played any football, no bounce games or anything, but we potentially get to a point where it needs must a little bit. So we'll look at that over the coming, and have been over the coming days, weeks, months, whatever that looks like. But he's been training like Pauli has. So the potential of having them involved is obviously there. You would like to be, I suppose, careful, but we've not really got a huge amount of time left in the season, and I said the games get bigger and bigger. Without question, from a player's perspective, they'll want to be involved. We've just got to make sure we make the right decision for everybody.
Great to see Benno continue his form with his country over the international break. I appreciate he won't have had much time to train with yourselves this week, but is he in contention, ready to go for Saturday?
Yeah, in contention, ready to go. He's back in the building today. He obviously got 70 minutes on Tuesday. We watched the game, got himself 2 goals, an assist, hit the bar, in a place that's obviously familiar to us, so recognised the surroundings. So good for him. Obviously back now, we'll screen him this morning, and fingers crossed he'll be fine to train and be involved, whether that be, like say, to start or from the bench. So he's in a good place, and as he's shown over the real short time he's been here, he can have an impact on what we do over the next few months.
On the subject of strikers, obviously be a familiar face in the Burton squad in Jack Stretton. Really unlucky with injuries, Jack, during his time here, but great to see him land a move to a League One club.
Yeah, I spoke with Jack when I suppose the decision was made around the closure of the transfer window, around the decision for him. A tough one, like I say, because he has had a torrid time with injuries, especially over the last sort of 18 months. And the decision for him was whether to, I suppose, go somewhere and stay in and around things and go somewhere where he's probably not, well, he's definitely not far from home, and go into an environment where he knows the people that are in charge there, or and sort of complete the season, or does he, I suppose, take himself massively out of his comfort zone and go and play at a level that he's well above, and sort of try and get plenty of minutes and plenty of goals in order to provide a market for himself in the summer. He's chosen to go down the route that he did, and for him it'll be about, like I say, getting fit, keeping fit, and at some point, whether that be now or whether that be, like I say, in the summer at Burton or elsewhere, going and get himself a real run of football. He needs to play, having not played for the last couple of years, he needs to go and play a full season to get himself up to speed and get himself back to where he was 2 or 3 years ago. And we all hope that's the case. Like I said, there's been loads going on with him. He's obviously a dad now, so things change massively and your whole world's turned upside down. But he's still really, really young, and still got his whole career in front of him. So again, he went from here with everybody's best wishes. There's nothing worse from a footballer's perspective of being injured and not being able to show what you can do. And he's had some challenges over, like I said, the last 18 months. Hopefully he's beyond them, and he can really kick on.
You've had a little bit of a reshuffle in your goalkeeping department as well. Andrew Wogan back from Marine, Max Metcalf going to replace him on loan there. What's the thinking there?
Andy's done really, really well at Marine, and I suppose it just provided an opportunity. Listen, we hope that we don't ever have to make a goalkeeping change. The reality of it is Ben's not going to be back. Certainly, again, I say with Campsey and Ryan, certainly I wouldn't expect within the regular season. If the season gets extended into a playoff campaign, then potentially. But it was an opportunity to, I suppose, bring Andrew back and let Max go out and play some games. They're both young goalkeepers, but Andrew's experience is greater than Max in terms of gameplay. With the games he had over in Ireland, he's come over here and had a run of games and built. And I suppose the beauty of a loan, especially a loan to a part-time team, means that they train with us most of the time, so we're able to get eyes on, and we felt this was a good opportunity for us to bring Andrew back, and on the flip side of that, go and get Max 6 or 7 games before the end of the season, because Marine, with the run they've had, with whilst Andrew's been there, are now realistically safe in their division. It was their deadline yesterday for non-league transfers, if you like, so nothing could happen after that. So a decision was made to sort of flip them and see where things go.
And just finally looking at Burton, they obviously had a very clear direction of where they wanted to go in the summer, brought in an entirely new young squad, but prior to Gary's appointment really struggled. What have you made of the impact that he's had since going in there? Because the fact we're talking about them as having a chance of staying up is testament to the work that he's done.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on a pro licence with Robbo, so when he went in there in the summer, I'd spoke to him around what the club wanted to do. I think what it does do is it shows how difficult it is to make the significant amount of change that they wanted to do, and how, not easy, but how possible it was to be able to completely change things and go in a different direction and continue to maybe have relative success. Now, I'm not sure what relative success was or looked like for Burton at the start of the season, but it didn't work for them for whatever reason. They've obviously brought Gary in now, who's a more experienced manager, and gone a little bit different. And listen, I've spent some money in January and invested in their squad in order to give themselves this chance. And they've had a brilliant run. I think they took. They were close to averaging 2 points a game anyway from the games that they had, which put them in with a chance, and has kept them in with a chance. Obviously, the result last week in terms of Crawley beating Bristol Rovers keeps them in it, and Northampton, having not won a couple of games, all of a sudden we're looking over their shoulders. But Burton need to put a similar run together, and as with anything, you look at, I think they've got 9 games to go. They'll have as big an impact as any team in the division, because I think they play the top 7 within them 9 games. So it's a big challenge in front of them, but they've given themselves a chance by picking up results. Look at their threats. They're the best team since Gary's gone in terms of set-piece threat and set-piece goals. On the flip side of that, they're the team that's conceded the most chances from set pieces at the other end. They've become a real attacking threat with Burrell up the top end of the pitch. He's got the most high-speed runs in the division, so a counter-attack threat. Do we expect them to be really aggressive against us? Not really. If you look at their, I suppose, line of engagement and where they sit on the pitch, they've been pretty deep at times and look to play on the counter-attack and looking to play in transition, but they've got legs in midfield, they've got wing-backs that will bomb forward, and they've got delivery to put in the box. So we know where their threats are, and they're a different team than we played them previously, because probably when we played them previously, we played really well in that game, but that game could have been any score because they were in a bad place in terms of where they were mentally and confidence-wise. They're a different team now, so they'll come in expecting to get something, and knowing that the reality of it is they need to get something, because the games that they've got left will demand that regardless of where they go, they're going to have to pick up points against the teams at the top of the league. So we expect a really tough game, but it's one, like I say, from our perspective, that we're back at home. It's the start of another run for us on the back of not winning on Saturday, and hopefully we can perform.
Appreciate your time, Dave. Thank you.
Welcome. Cheers. Thank you.